right. So today's webinar, we have arranged it for teachers. We have a number of teachers who have registered on our website to be a teacher champion, could say, and they are there to support their kids and so on. We have had this program for a couple of years when we provide some resources to teachers as well so that they can help the students. So anyway, that's what the webinar today is about. We sent the invites to all the teachers that are registered on our website. And the purpose of today's webinar is to talk about how can teachers support their students on their entrepreneurship journey. And for that, I have two wonderful guests here, of course. Let me introduce you. So we have Miss Ilene Littman. She is a member of our nonprofit board. She's also a business teacher at Ward Melville High School. I would, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit, Ilene, and then we go ahead, and I want to introduce Nestor as well. And
sure. Good afternoon. Thank you, Z. Good afternoon, everyone. As Z said, I'm Ilene Littman from Ward Melville High School. I've been involved on this board for, I think it's 4 or 5 years now. Kind of lost track. It's been an exciting journey. It's always an adventure. I'm so glad and honored to be on the board and support students in this way. And today we have a lot to tell you about why you should be involved and all the benefits it has for you and your students.
Thank you so much, Ilene, for joining us here. Next on our panel, we have Nestor Benavides. He is the president of our nonprofit board. And the big thing about him is that he is also the father of the founder of the Blue Ocean competition, who was Nicholas Benavides, who started this competition when he was a high school student. But Nestor is the one, of course, who encouraged him and got him started and so on. And he has been kind enough to be on our board and support us through the journey. Nestor, would you like to talk a little bit about you?
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Dr. Munir and Ilene for joining us today and keeping this going forward. We think the teachers is a huge part of the effort and the future of the effort. So we're excited to have everybody here today, and look forward to your questions, your comments, and your suggestions to how we can do a better job at including teachers in this exciting competition.
Thank you so much, Nestor, for being here. And I am Z Munir. I'm the executive director of the Blue Ocean competition. I have been leading the organization for the last 2 years. But the organization has been there for quite some time. Like I said, it started when Nicholas was a high school student and started the competition. It grew from there to big, to big, to big. And so I will share information about where the competition is right now and how we have gotten there. So today's agenda, we want to cover 4 things. One, of course, I'm briefly going to talk about the competition and our organization. I also want to talk a little bit about the resources and the awards that are available for teachers. And then we will have Ilene talk about how to support your students, because she has been doing that for a couple of years. And then we will go into the Q&A session where all 3 of us and Nestor and Ilene, we can discuss and answer all your questions and go about that. So let me just briefly go about the competition. So it is now a 501c3 nonprofit organization that is registered in the state of Maryland. This little guy is Nicholas, who is now, of course, a big guy working at he went on to Stanford to do his bachelor's, master's, and now is a professional. Our organization has this mission to engage, inspire, empower, and prepare high school students, student entrepreneurs of the world. So that's really our what the organization is about. Blue Ocean, you see the name Blue Ocean there, and it is because all of this is inspired by these 2 professors and this book called Blue Ocean Strategy, which is mostly a required reading in business schools when students go to college. we have often talked about, how that knowledge can be brought down even to the high school level so that we can get the kids started on entrepreneurship, on business training or so at an earlier level. And even though these are generally taught in college, the idea about the Blue Ocean competition is to bring all of that knowledge at the high school level and get students started earlier. This is Professor Chan Kim and Renee Mobon, who are, I would say, the thought leaders behind our whole competition and organization. The competition did start as a small competition started by Nicholas in his school in Maryland, and it was an in-person competition. Gradually, they extended to, the Maryland, their county, and then the next year to their state, and then the next year to 4 states or so. Last year, we were able to get 5,200 registrations from 146 countries. So you can see how big it has become from something that was really small. And we are very proud to, continue to expand it with that mission that we want to take this entrepreneurship knowledge free of cost with all these volunteers to everywhere in the world. So that has been the mission, and we are, I think, delivering on it well. This year, we had a big achievement, even though we didn't get the award, but the big achievement here is that we got shortlisted. And there is this Thinkers 50 Ideas into Practice Award, a very prestigious award that's given to, ideas that are really making a big impact in the world. We got shortlisted for the finalists. We were not selected the winner, but still making it to the finalists is a very big thing, and we are very proud of that. So that's about the competition. Why get involved? I'm going to leave that to Ilene, but I want to quickly talk about, what sort of resources there are that are available for the teachers. So if you go on our website, there are 2 areas where you would find the resources. One is the student resources section, where everything that the students need, it is over there, and that's useful for teachers as well. And then they are not all repeated under teachers resources, because teachers are expected to access them under student resources as well. But whether it's the submission checklist or competition rules or judging criteria, dates and deadlines, information about past winners, the pitch template, Blue Ocean tool templates, all of those things can be accessed under student resources. And then for teachers, separately, we have some introductory slides about Blue Ocean strategy. We have a complete set of lecture slides that teachers can use in the class. And then we also have information that you can share with your students to get them inspired. So these are some of the resources that are available. One of the most valuable resource I think that teachers get is access to the Blue Ocean mini course. This is an online course. The teachers can take it and are encouraged to take it. And then you should encourage your students to complete it as well. It takes less than 35 minutes to complete, but it really gets your students to embrace the perspective, what Blue Ocean strategy is, what that thinking process is as you go about creating a Blue Ocean based business or so. By completing this course, you get a completion certificate as well. So it really makes your life easy. I mean, it is engaging, it is interesting. The students can complete it at their own pace, but you get a certificate of completion, which you can also share and add as a credential to your LinkedIn profile as well. So again, this is generally an expensive course offered for free by our sponsor here. So a great resource. Then other things that, are wow, why does it keep going on to the next slide? I'm sorry. So let me talk about some of the awards that are available for teachers. We give a number of awards, and we also recognize teachers for their contribution. A $1,000 award is given to the school that brings in the most pitches that make it to the top 30. That's one award. Then in addition to that, top 5 schools with the most submissions, they also get $1,000 each. So we have about $6,000 that are going to schools. We recognize a teacher champion, and that teacher champion gets one of these smart boards for their classroom. This is offered by one of our sponsors, OneScreen, and so it's a 75-inch large touchscreen that goes. And then as teachers, you also get certificate of outstanding achievement as a Blue Ocean Teacher Champion, if you are selected one. And then we also provide certificates to schools to recognize their support for student entrepreneurship and so on. Let me just quickly show you who were our winners last year. These are our 4 winners from last year that were recognized as teacher champions. And you can see there was, oh, these are not all Colorado. That's my mistake. I'm so sorry. This is Nigeria. Christy is in Nigeria and so on. Denmark is fine, but this is, the states are wrong here. There is a lot of diversity here, but these are our 4 teachers that were recognized last year. Mr. Jason Dowling received the Teacher Champion of the Year award and got the 75-inch touchscreen in his school in Michigan. The schools that were recognized last year, Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology had 5 pitches that made it to the top 30. And that's very impressive. And that sort of thing, as Ilene would tell you, only happens when the teacher is really involved and guides and supports their kids and so on. So 5 pitches making it to the top 30, really impressive. They received an award from us. And then the other 5 schools that brought in the maximum pitches, Peak to Peak Charter School, Hobart High School in Indiana, Ward Melville High School, because Ilene has been so kind to always guide her students to be involved. And then a school from Miami and also a school from Panama. So these are the awards that are available to the teachers. And so first of all, I would like to thank all of you who have taken that step to become involved and get to know about, what the competition is and how you can support your kids with that. I'm going to stop it here and let Ilene take over, and we'd love to get her wisdom on, what she has done to and how she has involved her students, that they always, like, so many of them participate and they come with excellent pitches. And so over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Z. All right, once again, everybody, I'm from Ward Melville High School. I'm in New York. Been doing this competition for, I believe, 4 to 5 years now. So why should you get involved? To begin with, it's absolutely an innovative approach to teaching topics that we already teach. I'm a business teacher, and I tend to incorporate this into my marketing class. I choose that class because it's a full year class. I find that to be the easiest way to implement this and really have the students get the most out of it. And I'll get to that in just a little bit. First, I just want to tell you why you should do it to begin with. The students are definitely going to learn to think outside the box and be more creative. So I'm a business teacher, but I'm also a work-based learning coordinator, as well as creating job shadow and internship opportunities for students. I'm also the coordinator for an industry advisory board for my school district. So I have a lot of interactions with employers, and I know what they're looking for. I hear on a regular basis, and I'm very much in the loop when it comes to the expectations of what they want from their employees, and unfortunately the shortcomings that they're talking about that they're getting from graduates right out of college. So with that said, with this competition, the skills that employers are seeking are inevitably being used in this type of competition. Effective communication and presentation skills are being developed, critical thinking and problem solving, teamwork and collaboration, and absolutely creativity and innovation just by the nature of what Blue Ocean is. The experience helps prepare students for real world encounters, and it certainly is a resume booster, not only if they're a winner, but it's something that they can talk about. They could talk about it in a college interview. They could talk about it in a job interview. It's really a prestigious competition, being that it's worldwide, and we have about 146 countries that participate in this. And as you saw before, there's over 5,000 students. So it really is something that's worldwide, and any future employer or college would be impressed that a student partakes in something of this nature. And overall, it's fun, and there is certainly a lot of opportunities for cash and other prizes, not only for teachers, but obviously for students as well. So how would you incorporate the competition and the online resources into your teaching? As I said, I generally put it into my marketing class, my full year marketing class. And that's my recommendation. You can put it into classes as well as co-curricular clubs that are focused around business-oriented topics or STEM. It can even be some other topic that you just want to teach entrepreneurship, and have students do something that's a little more creative and out of the norm. DECA and FBLA are two co-curricular clubs that this really falls seamlessly into. I also am the advisor for our DECA club at school, and I highly encourage my DECA kids to participate in this. So as you know, if you're a business teacher or you're familiar with DECA or FBLA, there's regional, statewide, and national competitions. Not every kid makes it to states and nationals. So what happens with those kids that fall, off to the wayside while the others are going on and competing? Something like this is an excellent opportunity to have all members of the club be actively involved and engaged in something for the entire school year. Even students that I have that do go on to the state and national competitions, and we make it to the nationals every year, I'm proud to say, I even encourage them. I tell them they're crazy if they don't participate in this. What have they got to lose? Especially if they're already competing in DECA and FBLA, they're doing very similar things. And it's just something that they can also add to their resume and be another feather in their cap. And should any of them win, it would certainly be an outstanding achievement. So classes and co-curricular clubs. So once again, my recommendation is to put it into a full year class. Not that it can't be put into a half year class, but I have found I tried to do it, and it was more difficult. It wasn't as easy as a full year class. In my full year marketing class, basically when I teach a topic, I then go on and we apply it to our Blue Ocean competition projects. So, all of the basics that they're learning about market segmentation and trying to create that ideal target market and performing market research and surveys and observations and interviews, and all of that just it flows right into this so well. As Z said before, there's also the Blue Ocean Entrepreneur Student Mini Course, and it's an awesome resource, not only for students, but teachers as well. I would recommend that you go through that yourself first, so you have a good idea about the Blue Ocean concept and what it's all about, just so you know the basics. And then what I like to do with all of my classes every year, I go through this mini course with them. And the reason why I do that is because I want them to be able to ask questions, and I want to be able to explain the different Blue Ocean tools and frameworks that they're going to be using for the project, not just kind of putting it together and not really understanding why. So I found that once I started doing that, the students had a much better grasp of what they were doing and the direction that they should be going in. Here's just the Blue Ocean mini course. This is what it looks like. Down on the left-hand side, off to the left, you'll see there's a menu, and it takes you through the entire course. As Z said, it's about 35 minutes. Here are some of the templates that the students will use, and literally they're templates. They fill them in. So they learn the concept, and then you can help guide them in filling in the information that they need to utilize for their own Blue Ocean product. The next slide is just showing down. If you look at the bottom left where it says resources, these are the Blue Ocean templates. If you look towards the top of the screen, it says 5 downloads. You would click there, and all 5 tools are available for download, and they're all templates, and they would just be modified to coincide with each student's Blue Ocean project. Beneath that, you'll see Blue Ocean pitch template, and that's a presentation for them to be able to organize their ideas. So when they're creating, at the end of this, what's submitted for their projects is a video. So they're not creating a presentation per se, like a PowerPoint, but that's available to really develop their ideas and get their ideas together. And some students do, in the end, have it of a presentation nature like that. That's why it is important to go out and see some of the past winners and look at the different ways and the variety of ways in which students have developed their pitches. And then at the very end, the students will, this is just one of the tools. This is known as an ERRC grid. And the examples are great because students can really relate to them. So Shake Shack, all students have pretty much heard of Shake Shack. And when you're looking at a tool like this, it's showing what the Blue Ocean concept is eliminating from the current market today, and what they're reducing, and then what they're raising, what they're doing better above the norm, and what they're creating, which never existed before. And this template is there, and there's various companies that have taken on Blue Ocean concepts like Shake Shack and Cirque du Soleil, Dry Bar, which is a salon. There's many examples for the students to look at to see how this actually works. But this is an example of a completed ERRC grid. When they're all done with the mini course, they get this certificate of completion. And I count this as a classwork grade because we went through the entire course, and I believe the students need to do that. Not only that, it's a requirement to enter the competition. So it really is a prerequisite, and they have to do it. But I prefer to do it with them so that I can see that they understand what they're doing, and they can ask questions as we're going along. After they complete that, I also, this year, as a matter of fact, I created a quiz because I said, okay, so now they took this mini course, and I created a 10-question Blue Ocean quiz that, of course, I use as a grade. And I just wanted to make sure they understood what the Blue Ocean concepts really mean. What's the difference between a blue and a red ocean? What is an as-is strategy opposed to a to-be strategy canvas? And what's an ERRC grid, or, the 3 tiers of non-customers. And these are all the tools that they will learn, and they'll get the templates to create them. But I needed to know that they understood what they were. And my quiz told me that they did. So it was a good idea to do that. Again, it's easy to just incorporate it into your planning. So how would you best support your students once you have this going? Definitely let them know that you're learning right along with them. I'm still learning some things as I go. I think I have it down pretty well, but inevitably, as I'm going through it and as we're discussing it, and as a student has a brand new Blue Ocean idea that takes a different thought process, you are going to discover new things all the time. And the students pretty much take ownership of their ideas and run with them once they get what they're doing. Highly recommend, certainly use all the resources available to you and your students. They're so valuable. It just makes things so much easier. And as long as you're using them and the students are using them, then they can understand what the Blue Ocean concept and Blue Ocean strategy and shift is all about. I know in the beginning when I first started doing this, and I'm telling you from experience, I didn't think I needed to use all the resources. And that was really not the case. Because as I started using all of the resources, things really came together, and it made life easier, not only for me, but for the students as well. So if you go to the Blue Ocean website, view the past winners presentations, see different video formats and ideas, and just kind of get, information off of there, as well as through the mini course, it will really provide a wealth of information for you and your students. Be supportive, keep the students on track, make them accountable to be able to explain their ideas using the Blue Ocean tools and framework. Once they get it and once they realize what they're doing, again, it takes them to another level, and they really start being, automated with it, and they're really trying to do their best work. Remind students to view the rubric. There is a rubric out there, and follow all the directions, such as the video file formats that are accepted once they submit their video. Videos aren't due until February, but there is a rubric, and there's 5 categories to follow, and students should be aiming for all 5s in that rubric. They see how they're being graded. It's not a mystery. They can look at it, see if they're on target and meeting all the benchmarks. And if not, they can go back and revise. So I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. It really is an amazing experience, and I highly recommend it to all teachers. You will get a lot of satisfaction out of it, as well as the students. It's an excellent opportunity.
Well, thank you so much, Ilene. This was so useful. I thought that this is what you were doing, how you were like including it as a grade, and how come like there are 25 or 30 or 35 students who are coming and participating, because we don't see that sort of participation from like many schools. And so that's what I thought, that probably what you are doing, and it is that you are giving them a grade, or maybe you have a magic way of encouraging all of them to participate. So thank you so much for sharing what you have been doing. In our experience, or in my experience in the last 2 years, what I've seen is that schools where teachers have gotten involved and they have supported their kids, like you said, probably taking them through the course, maybe including it in the curriculum, the quality of pitches that have come from those schools just is completely different than what we see when a student is struggling on their own. I mean, one of our organization's mission, of course, was to increase the reach and provide these resources and this knowledge to as many students as possible. But one of the other objectives is to also help them really embrace it, so that the quality of pitches that come in, we want to increase that quality over time as well. And that happens when teachers are involved. And that's why we, pay such attention to teachers as well. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. Nestor, can we bring you in here now, so we could have like a discussion about Nestor has been involved with the competition for a very long time, and of course has worked with the teachers when they were in person, supporting their students as well. Nestor, could you talk a little bit about, what your experience was? I remember there was teacher Kristen Taylor, right? Nicholas's teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we've had great success thanks to you, Dr. Munir, and our previous executive director. And I think that the best experiences the kids have had have been when they were also supported by their teacher at school. They could help them on the project, but also give them context to a lot of what was going on, and be in an environment in a school where there were other kids also participating in the competition. So we're going to continue to try to promote the competition to individual students around the whole world. But we really think that the richest opportunity to help kids understand and appreciate the principles of business, the principles of entrepreneurship, the principles of the Blue Ocean strategy is by creating relationships and partnerships with teachers. And I know that made a big impact on Nicholas, who was the founder. I mean, his teacher and his partnership with Kristen Taylor was a big part of the success.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, let's open our questions to our participants as well. As I told you, we had about 43 teachers registered. I think probably what they want to hear is, what Ilene is saying. And so they registered so that they could get the recording. And it is hard for people to, pull out of their time and come to the webinar. But we have two teachers here. I would love for them to tell us about a little bit about themselves, and then ask Ilene questions, because we do have an expert here. So I'm going to ask them to unmute if they are.
Yeah. Hi, Ilene. It's James Moon here from Toronto, Canada.
Hi, James.
Yeah, it's great seeing this program. We actually ran this program last year. It's kind of like an after-school place up in Canada. Most of the students are all from Upper Canada College and Havergrove, most of the private schools, and they come after, and they're in the entrepreneurship courses that I've run, and I've been in the business running an IROC member firm, which is like an SEC firm down in the States, for 14 years, and in the business in '86. So we started the program 7 years ago, off the books before this competition was really a big thing. And the kids just absolutely, well, not the kids, they're students. And they are just way over the top with the course. So I can't say enough for what this has brought out. And they also do the 24 Steps to Entrepreneurship, which you might be familiar with that MIT course as well. And it's just been I think that what I've seen now over the last 6-7 years is something that, and I'm 57 now, is that the kids or the students that are grade 7, 8, and 9 now are so much more advanced than any of us were. And I don't think the educational system and the business system have understood that they're that far advanced yet, and that they can do things now that we wouldn't be able to do until we're in first year university. And they can do this in grade 9 and 10. So this course really brings that out in them, that they see that they can actually be just as smart as anybody else on the street in running a business with new ideas. And that's why I think you're finding most of the small and medium-sized businesses out there having so much trouble staying competitive because they just don't have the human resources. And the students now, I think, are going to be part of that with the Blue Ocean program, saying, hey, we're able to come and help you be more competitive and stay in the game. So it's really been a great program and a great framework to be able to build from. I don't know if you can hear me. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Well, I think
That's
that
excellent.
lady is muted now. So in a real world, it's been fantastic. This is not a make-believe world with this program. It really does get the students deeply involved and gives them confidence. And again, I'm an investment banker as well for a long time, so I'm dealing directly with companies, and now the students say that this is, they thought this was over the top, that they wouldn't be able to act like a company. And the great quote from the gentleman that started LinkedIn was, every time you're starting a company, it's like jumping off a cliff and assembling an airplane on the way down. You're usually missing parts and the human resources to put the plane together. So, the students, I think, have that mindset. And now that they're involved in this Blue Ocean course, they look at it differently and they say, wait a minute, with all the data and all the access to information that I've had, which we never got when we were growing up because the internet didn't even exist, their mindset is in a completely different area now. So it really is, as far as I can say, one of the best programs out there. You mix that with the 24 Steps to Entrepreneurship at MIT, which is the book, puts them in a whole different level.
Thank you, James, for supporting your students on this and for sharing
Yeah.
this information here. We look forward to receiving their pitches.
Yes.
This year, are a number of students participating from your schools?
Yeah,
From
there'll be 7. There'll be
There will be
it's a 7-person, it's a 6-person team, actually.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we look
Yeah.
forward to getting them to participate. And thank you for encouraging them. That's
Great.
wonderful.
Thank you.
James, you're right. It's very empowering for them.
Yeah, I'll put my video on. I'm not, I didn't have to go into work today because I run a brokerage firm as well. So I could come online like this. So there you go.
It's the norm.
Yeah, it's the norm. That's
Right?
right. I had a tie and shirt on before, but now I'm relaxed here.
Okay, so one other thing that I just wanted to quickly talk about, and James, we would love your feedback on that as well. So Ilene, thank you for letting me know that, you know, one of the areas where kids feel challenged is which tools to really use to put together that video, because our program is that they have to put together this 5-minute video. If they have a lot of time to do like a presentation, that's a different thing, but condensing everything in 5 minutes and then making sure that it comes together in a way that makes a strong impression on the judges, it's a challenging task, right? And a big part of it is the technology that they would be using. So thank you for bringing that information. I have asked our team to put together. I did ask our student executive committee which tools had they used. They are compiling that list, and we will put together a resource that will then become available in that teachers section and also in student section, which would have information on what sort of tools can they use, should they have the picture on the side or on the middle, or how to like mix content with images to make the best impact and so on. So we are working on that. We will definitely bring that over. James, have your students experienced that problem as well or not?
Have they what? Sorry?
Do
Yep.
do they have do they feel comfortable making the videos, or
No,
do
they're
they
all
feel
experts at YouTube.
okay?
So they go on, and if they can't find something, they found a video to how to do it in about 10 seconds. And now with OpenAI, they just open AI for anything they need, and they get the answers immediately.
That's right. So Ilene, which tools are your kids generally using? What
They're
have you-
generally using their phones, but you
Yeah.
know, I found that even my kids who are excellent presenters, right, that just knock it out of the park. The intimidating part is getting the video to look good and sound good, and you know, have it all meshed together and look professional.
That's right.
You know, because I've had students piecing their audio, and you know, one clip is louder than the other, or you know, it's just not it's not flowing.
By and large, what my students are telling me, you know, the student executive members, they keep telling me that CapCut is the right tool to use, or many of them have been using like PowerPoint and just use narration in it with the video or so. But anyway, we will get to a conclusion on what are the best possible tools and get that information.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, we also have, so Amna is saying, Canva. Amna, if you get a chance, please introduce yourself here as well. I did read your message that you have moved from Dubai to now Canada, but have you been involved with the competition earlier? Is this your first year? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. So I am basically from Dubai, United Arab Emirates. I have been in the education landscape for the past 14 years, more than a decade. The students in my school at Pristine were exposed to a competition known as Teach a Man to Fish. And it was a really good experience. Besides that, there was something particularly with the British curriculum that we had an opportunity to offer to a certain number of students who were interested in the enterprise course, but there was a coursework involved, and so several of the students did not opt for it. So when I came across Blue Ocean competition, just like Ilene was mentioning, I had, suggested it to the secondary head that we can take it up as an after school program. And I had conveyed the information to the innovation coordinator at Pristine. Her name is Zainab. Um, as I have had mentioned in the chat that I have recently relocated to Canada, but I'm still in contact with the school and with a lot of private schools back in United Arab Emirates. What I can do is I can, like promote what Blue Ocean competition has to offer for students, because this is very important for students in the long run. As per OECD, what they inform us is that critical thinking and problem solving skills is very much important for students. And I see there are very really rare platforms are available, like BizWorld is available. I have heard about the network for teaching entrepreneurship. I have heard about the JA, which is known as the Junior Achievement Student Companies. I have heard about certain schools in United Arab Emirates having a incubation program. But the way the course that I completed as a teacher, the mini course, it was really well designed. I can tell you, it really made me understand what is the significance and essentials of Blue Ocean competition. And I think that it will be a really wonderful enrichment or after school activity for any school which wants the post secondary students to be introduced to it, like to entrepreneurship. And yeah, and thank you
I'm not
for
thank
having me
you.
today.
Oh, no, thank you for joining us. I have a quick question. Is there an opportunity to integrate the course uh, in the coursework, or does it have to be an after school thing, which is in addition to their regular curriculum?
There is an opportunity to do that as well. What I can do is, because Zainab is already has been informed by me through email, I can also pull into loop the business head. Her name is Shaista. I can do that. I can loop her in the email again, mentioning it to her that the students can take it up as an enterprise coursework as well. It's like hitting, uh, with one arrow, two birds. So I think yes.
I mean, when I think of it, I feel like not that I teach high school students. I don't. So this is probably just an uneducated guess or so. But I feel like if it could be like they have like a capstone project or so. So they are learning many things, but does it really come together as a project that they can present or not? So
Really true. Let me tell you. So, back in United Arab Emirates, because they are trying to introduce certain things which can equip the students, especially at higher before they enter into the higher education sector, to make them more future ready. They have a lot of programs running by independent non-profit organizations as well. But something that was unique about Blue Ocean competition was the autonomy the student has. Like everyone can participate.
Yeah.
I think this is very important because for other organizations they have a cap that you select and you nominate a certain number of students, and then you let them go ahead with this project that you have shortlisted at your end. So I think everyone needs to experience this learning process, or the cycle of learning is very important for every child or every individual who's ready to enter the university or the college very soon. And I believe that it might also give an outlook to a student who's at post 16 level, if he or she would like to change his career orientation as well.
thank you, Amna, for sharing that. And it just reminded me, one of the things that inspires me so much when I look at these pitches that students send in. This is a chance for the students to just compete at a global level, right? They are not just competing in their city, in their country, because we get so much diversity in those pitches. They would be talking about problems that we, for example, sitting in San Diego or in the US may not experience, but it gives us a window in, what's happening maybe in another part of the world, which is a big problem that is being solved or so. But in that respect, I feel like it because there are so many different perspectives that we see over there, that also means that, these students are getting a chance to really compete on that global front where there are all various different types of challenges. They're like, for example, the pictures that we would get, let's say from Denmark, maybe about, some road turbines that are under the road or so, and the pictures that we may get from Africa or India or Philippines, maybe something very different, and so on. And so that, I feel like, is such a great opportunity for kids to be, they of course can go and see those as well, but really it puts them on a, on a platform to compete at a global level, which is very exciting.
I would also like to suggest something. Like, I believe that these programs are really unique when we have something called an impact, outlook or impact outcome for whatever they're doing. So some of the students might be able to realize their projects despite the fact that they have not gone through the finalist nomination. And I think that perhaps you at your end can review these like over a cycle of two years period, and see if there were students who did not make it to finals but did work on their project in some way and take it up ahead. I think that it would really serve well to the community as well.
That's right. We are putting together that alumni network, and our current student executive committee, they are reaching out to students who participated earlier, put together some businesses, and they are following them to see if they really did take it forward. Are those businesses, did it die out after the competition, or were they doing something with it? And it's interesting that some of them are actually doing something, because they are putting together these little videos, and we will start sharing that information as well. So thank you, Amna, for sharing that.
I'll just add something. One of the biggest issues out there is that it seems to the students, and certainly to our politicians, but to the students, that the issues that are around us are so intractable that that it's almost impossible to start anywhere and get something done. And I think that this allows the younger generation now to say, hey, wait a minute, I can take some little solutions and start to solve a bigger problem by starting with smaller solutions, like what Blue Ocean brings in this competition. And that I think is the next generation of people that hopefully can solve a lot of the issues that we seem to talk a lot about, but don't get anything done.
That's right.
Yes, makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, Ilene, in your experience, I have a question for you. Is there a problem for any teacher to bring the competition and bring it to her club or so, or is it generally that they always have the autonomy, I would say, to add anything to their curriculum or to their course or program? Do schools have restrictions?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say restrictions, but they might be limited. I'm a business teacher, so in business, we're an elective area. So essentially what that means is that we can alter our curriculum. We're not teaching to a test. You take an English class or a social studies class or science or math, that's a different story, right? They have a prescribed curriculum that has to be covered, and they don't have as much wiggle room to deviate and add other things in, because then the content, the original content of the course, may not fully be executed, right? So in business classes, you do have the freedom to incorporate other things. I mean, before Blue Ocean, I've always incorporated real world examples, always referring to the news and what's going on in industry and business and marketing and so on and so forth. All my examples were relatable because they knew the companies I was talking about, and those things were happening as we spoke. So they could really identify with the material and the content. This is real world too. But as far as restrictions, no, there really isn't. So, I mean, unless there's a prescribed curriculum, like I said, a core area, that's where it's definitely much harder to try and, push this in there. Take an elective area and you really have the room and the ability to do it.
Okay, great. And finally, just one other question. What do you think could we possibly change that could make it easier for teachers or better for teachers? Because of course we appreciate teachers taking so much time to, help their kids and support their kids and so on. But what could make it easier for teachers? I mean, the video support, that's one thing, but other than that, anything that comes to mind that may make it easier? Or
I think maybe just as I said before, the tools are already out there. The mini course is so essential. You have to go through that. And I recommend once again going through it with the students so that when they, they're looking at it and they're saying, wait, I don't understand. What's the difference between the as is strategy canvas and the to be? They look the same. I don't you can explain those things. And that's a very simple example, but just, whatever might come up. If they have any questions whatsoever, or they're not sure how to do something, you can address it right then and there. So the mini course is, once again, a non-negotiable. All teachers need to go through that. And the students need to complete that as a prerequisite to enter the competition anyhow. But having them go through it and not understand what they're doing is going to create those roadblocks where they're not quite on the right track, right? So so that certainly, from my perspective, the video aspect, and I think and I think you do a great job of it already, but just regular communication about where we're at, in the process of the competition. But I think everyone's doing a great job with that.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. We are getting close to the top of the hour, so I would like to thank Ilene so much for especially taking time out of the school and coming back early, doing that, being
My
here
pleasure.
with us. And thank
you.
you, Nestor, for joining us from Peru. And while you are there, we have always
Thank you all.
appreciated your
Thank you all, and spread the word.
Yeah. Okay. With that, we will close. Thanks, everybody.